so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome, one and all. I am super excited that you've joined me on this magical today. And today, I thought we would talk about some things, well, one thing that is going on in mainstream media. And the news is typically not something I watch, but I definitely will hear of things, right? I don't know if you all are the same way, not watching the news, but definitely hear of the things that are on the news, especially if it's become quite the thing. Well, these ETs that showed up in the backyard of someone's backyard in Vegas have caused quite the stir. And so I want to talk about this today. And this is a show, obviously, we talk about ETs all the time. So this is nothing new to us. But what I want to talk about is I want us all to pay attention to how this is being portrayed in the media. Because I got a chance to listen to the phone call that was the 911 call or the emergency call that was made from that person whose backyard that was. And the news media is putting out like these people were terrified. And I'm listening to this guy and he's calm as could be. And he's just explaining what he's looking at. And then he calmly says that he's terrified. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like terror to me, to be talking very calmly, not yelling, not screaming, not breathing heavy, not anything. Very calmly just describing what's going on, not terrified at all. And what makes sense to me about this is this. If this actually happened, if ETs showed up in this backyard in Vegas, what would have happened is the sense of peace that would have overcome the people who see these beings. They did say that they felt frozen for a moment in time when they looked in the eyes of the beings. And I think that's pretty common. When we do see, anytime I've seen anything, or I shouldn't say anytime, the one time that I had the experience with a ship, I was frozen. I was frozen in time. And I felt nothing but peace. At the same time, what happens is, in that moment we feel it, and then we come out of it, and we think about it, and our human perspective comes in, and all of the programs and distortions from all of the news media and outlets and all of the things that we've been taught our entire life, that comes into play. That comes into our mind and we think, oh, this is terrifying. I should be afraid of this. This is something I've been taught to be afraid of my entire life. So I should be scared. So therefore, I'm terrified. So that's what you'll hear is when someone actually experiences a peaceful moment, but then thinks, oh, this is a terrifying thing, you'll hear them peacefully say, I'm terrified. So that's what I caught in that whole call that I was able to hear. I also want us all to remember that those of us who do remember, those of us who get this, we are here to help those who are in fear, who are freaking out about this a bit, to relax and to stay calm and to remember that there is nothing to fear. If you think about it, this has been happening for 80 years. It's just that it's now been in the news, very recently in the news. And because this has been happening for 80 years and we've lived peacefully, not under any sort of alien attack for over 80 years, and P.S., it's been way longer than that, that beings have been around that have been watching us for eons now. We've been more aware of it now since the 40s. And so if anything was frightening, scary, terrifying, anything that was going to put us in any danger whatsoever, that would have happened. That would have happened already, would have happened a long time ago. Because as we all know, this technology that exists on other planets and in other dimensions does not exist here. It's well beyond ours. So I'm not sure how we think we're going to do much along that line. And this is one of the fun things I want to get into today in terms of it's silly to even talk about fighting these kinds of things. This is where we say, hello, neighbors, welcome, and how can we be friends, and how can we connect? How can we help one another? They are not here to hurt us. If these are real ET beings that have come, or if this is just some fake news story, it doesn't matter. They're here, they've been coming, and they will continue to do so. So the fear that our planet has been steeped in for so long is gradually lifting. And the more and more of us that become aware that there is nothing to fear, that these are our brothers and sisters, these are the star people from the star nations that our ancestors, especially here in North America, have been talking about for centuries. All indigenous cultures have aspects to the beginnings of their culture from culture bringers who came from the stars. And all of the indigenous cultures all around the world have these stories. And I'm not sure what is within our human consciousness that we discount all of this, like, oh, these people lived a long time ago and therefore they must not have been smart and they probably didn't know anything because they didn't have any technology. This is where our brains go. Instead, the way I think of it is these beings were so connected to the land, so connected to each other. They had all this time to be with one another, to be with the land, to look out at the stars at night and tell stories and listen. They had time to listen, and they had no one telling them that it wasn't true, because they were all having these experiences, and they would sit around and share them, and they would say, hey, me too. I saw that too. And because this was a collective experience, it was passed down in the stories because it is true. And over time, we have had these power and control mechanisms overtake all of that. Because if we understand, if we remember, if we know wholeheartedly that we are one, that there is no separation here, that our power exists within us, within this knowingness that we are one, that this power in us is love, and this love is what connects us all. It is what we all come from. It is what we all go back to. The more and more of us that understand this connectedness, the more powerful we become, the more we understand no one can overpower us. No one can tell us what to do. No one can tell us what to think, because we know this truth. We remember who we are. And so I love that this is coming out in these media outlets right now, because it is sparking an awareness within the collective. Whether they agree, disagree, are indifferent, it doesn't matter one iota. And it shouldn't matter to any of us what any of our friends, loved ones, relatives, coworkers, colleagues believe. The fact of the matter is everyone's on their own journey. We are on ours. We're all entitled to our own opinions. It doesn't matter. The seed has been planted. Eyes are opening. The veil is being dismantled. This last shred, this last string that those who are in control are trying to pull right now is gradually fraying apart because more and more and more of us are becoming aware. And that's all we need to do. Continue to be aware. Continue to live in this awareness of love in every single moment. Just by doing that, we are teaching others, we are planting the seed. I had this conversation with my dad the other day because he brought this up. And at first he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if there's actually aliens out there. And I was like, well, Dad, think about it for a second. When you look at our universe and look how infinite it is and realize that we're this tiny little speck of dust out here, do you really think that in all of that infinitum, we're the only ones who figured out how to do life? And maybe we are, but I doubt it. I think that this universe is magical and infinite, and there's a world of possibilities, a universe of possibilities out there, things that we can't even imagine. And he was like, yeah, you're probably right. Probably, Dad, probably. So it's so sweet that each and every one of us is able to see these things in our own time, in our own level of awareness. I can't turn around and tell my dad the actuality of what I know, of what I see every day, because he couldn't handle it. There's no way in the world he would discount it in a second and think I was a nut job and not want to ever talk to me about any of it ever again. And it would defeat the entire purpose. So I can very gently say little things here and there that I know he can tolerate and go from there. And it's actually kind of fun. It's fun to watch people evolve in their own time, to get it by themselves, because we can't do it for them. We can never carry anyone. We can walk with them, we can guide them, but we can't carry them. So for me, it's really fun to watch people become aware and to get these light bulbs on their own. And so speaking of the things that I couldn't tell my dad about, the things that I'm gonna tell you guys about, because when I think about all of the news that goes out there, and then I even watch some of the ancient aliens on the History Channel, and I hear people talk about the different technologies on the ships and how we try to figure all of that out. And then I have these sessions, and I typically don't hear about a lot of the technology. What I do hear is that these ships are conscious and connected and telepathic. And so that all of the beings can hear one another. The ship always knows what's going on inside the ship, outside the ship, within everyone else's thoughts. And it is a collective. It sounds kind of Borgy, right? If you've ever watched Star Trek. But Borgy in a very loving way. The Borg in a loving way. All connected in love. All following a purpose to help in service to humanity. In service to all. I say humanity, but I see those beings, I call all the beings humanity, even though we're not all humans, because I see it as all one. Every single one of our star brothers and sisters out there, we are them. Everything exists now, remember, all in this moment. And so every dimension right now, every time period right now, so that you, in your fifth dimensional aspect, in your sixth dimensional aspect, is here right now. That means there's a version of you in a ship up there somewhere right now. Whether you're above the Earth, above another planet, somewhere in a different galaxy, who knows? But there's a different aspect of you doing that right now. And here on Earth, we don't have the consciousness, the ability, the technology to even get close to what these ships actually are and how they behave. Because what that is going to take is our collective understanding of our oneness. Each and every person that experiences being on a ship experiences this collective oneness. And in order to get to a place where you're living in that vibration, that has to be your frequency. In order for that to be your frequency, that needs to be your thought on a daily basis. So that may take for us a little time, considering time, quote unquote time, in our 3D perspective to get to that 5 or 6 dimensional perspective. That will take, quote unquote, a little bit of time for us to get there. But it's always happening right now. That's what's really cool. We can tap into that knowing that exists within us right now. We get quiet, we tap in. This is how the ancients did it. This is how they knew. They got quiet and they listened. It's actually a common occurrence for me to see when someone experiences themselves being on a ship of some sort, being an extraterrestrial being on another dimension. It's also common for them to have a scene where they're experiencing themselves in nature. In whatever way, shape, or form, oftentimes people will see themselves as trees. I can't tell you how many people I have that see themselves as trees. And the reason why the higher self is showing people this aspect is so we can learn our connectedness, to learn that we do communicate with one another telepathically, that we can feel and hear one another, that we have these roots that connect us all. And what I find incredibly interesting is when a client's higher self in a session with me will show them both aspects. This tree aspect, which is showing them the connectedness of the roots, and then also bringing them up into the universe, into this other dimensional aspect, showing them the connectedness of that collective and how on that level we are also telepathically connected, showing these as above, so below aspects. This is something that we all need to understand. This is why it's a primary Hermetic axiom. As above, so below. This is the nature of our reality. We are all the same, all made of the same stuff, all one. The way it exists up there, so to speak, is the way it exists down here, and vice versa. It's all a mirror image, all doing the same thing, this beautiful holographic universe that we live in. And so the more and more of us that become aware of this connectedness, the more that we love each other more, the more we understand each other more, we will be seeing more and more contact. So continue to look up, see what you see. They're constantly all around us all the time. Or close your eyes, get quiet, go out in nature, connect with the trees, and connect with that other aspect of yourself within you. There's so much that we can do and explore when we just take the time and we listen. I think that's going to be it for me today, everybody. I'm going to leave you with this song by Satsang, This Place, featuring Trevor Hall. Until next time, I love you all.
Past the place we think we're from and past the edge of the earth. Now we have come to call it back, and I've known this since my birth, that we are not from here. Visitors to this place, but we all go back home. Now intertwined and locked in time, and at times it takes the load, because we've met ourselves before. Take me to this place. I wanna know more than I know right now. Set me free from pace. We'll get there when our body's good and done, and all our songs are sung. Take me to this place.
Where we come from is where we go. Don't you fight with what you don't know. Live the song and it soon will flow. Water that seed and it will grow. On a journey to see that place. Take your mask off and see your face. Let it all go and then embrace. Cook it up now and get that taste. What you're seeking is inside you. Always one, it was never two. What to follow and what to do. Sit and rest in the absolute. We will go there when we are called. Love is my D, it will not fall. Like a mountain, we're standing tall. All in one and no one in all. Take me to this place. I wanna know more than I know right now. Set
me free from pace. We'll get there when our body's good and done, and all our songs are sung. Take me to this place. Now from the depths of the earth we crawl,
From the depths of the earth we crawl,
to the place that we're from before our birth.
the place that we're from before our
Now
birth.
from the depths of the earth we crawl,
From the depths of the earth we crawl,
to the place that we're from before our birth. We send our song.
take
Me to this place.
take me to this place.
I wanna know more than I know right now.
Set me
Free from pace. We'll get there when our body's good and done, and all our songs are sung. Take me to this place.